Is that your approach now? I mean, you've been acting for a while and you've taken it so seriously at points and stuff like that, but would you say that's good advice for an aspiring or beginning actor? Like, have fun, enjoy it, and that'll come
Um,
across.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, the number one thing I would say to the beginning actor is just, just learn, just learn to say your words naturally. Sounds like the most simple thing, but I've seen like a lot of talented actors and less talented actors in coaching. And the one thing that I come back to that seems to be like the through line for like talented, what we call talented people, is just the people that have like, they seem to just say shit naturally because they're just more relaxed. And I don't even know if that's a talent. I think that's just a choice. Like if I say like, your life depends on just saying this line believably, you figure out a way. It's when you're trying to impress some people and do all these other things that it gets in the way and it comes off phony. Um, but yeah, I think beginning, first step, acting before we get into all the other work we do. I think the first thing is just you just learn to like forget emotion, forget like finding all this emotion. Just say these words as yourself completely naturally. Just figure out a fucking way. And then who you are will shine through because you're just getting out of the way. Um, and a lot of people have a whole career because they might not have like some deep talent. They might not even be super passionate about acting, but you know what they're able to do? They have a natural charisma about them. Not even charisma, they're just themselves. They say the words, and when they're right for it, they get it. And you can work a long time just, without studying acting to do anything. Just kind of like force yourself to say some things relaxed and naturally.
Be relaxed and be natural.
Yeah. And people say easier said than done, but at the same time, I do think it's a choice because I've had this conversation with people that I know are like, I'm like talented. I'm like, why are you so natural? They're just like, I just want to be. And, I had I remember I had a realization. I was actually coaching a kid who was got this lead in a movie, like a drummer. And he never acted before in his life, but he was a drummer. He was a thing, so that's why he got a shot at this. And he couldn't act at all. He never acted. He knew nothing. He was doing it. He was just like fucking terrible. And I couldn't get into him about like, here's your backstory. That means nothing to him. He's just, and at one point, I remember just telling him like, I don't give a fuck what you do. Like the next word that comes out, it better just sound natural. Like if someone's walking by, they can't know that you're acting. And what's weird is that like I kind of like got harsh with him, like stop this shit. Like it better sound like I was just trying different shit, right? And he was just had a good rapport with him, but I like put a little fear in him, like don't say some fake shit right now. I don't care if it's good. It just better not be fake. And ran the lines again, and somehow he fucking figured it out. And then like some actual emotions like hit him too. And then it like came out. I said, what the fuck? It was like his brain did this whole fucking calculation. And he turns out he knew how to act. He didn't know, but it was in there somewhere. So like if you're just starting out, yeah, just like if your life depends on being natural, you'll figure out a way to just be natural and not worry about being good. I was talking with another actor friend the other day. I was like, we act all the time. If you're working like if you're like undercover, you're under like in a criminal organization, right? You're working undercover. That's real fucking acting, right? You're pretending to be some criminal that you're not or whatever it is, but you're in a situation where getting found out could get you killed. I bet you'd figure that shit out real quick how to, like to whatever level you can. You know what I mean? If your life depends on it. So
You
yeah.
make Denzel look like a bad actor under that circumstance.
Well, there's different parts of acting. You might not have the same presence and charisma as Denzel, but you'll be fucking real. So if
You will be the character for sure,
yeah,
100%.
yeah, if you're forced to. So yeah, to anyone, well, starting out, reminder to anybody, any actor, just fucking be natural like your life fucking depends on it. And the cool thing is once you relax enough to be natural, then all the other things that we're looking for actually just magically come out. Then the emotions come out. Then it's actually charismatic. Even if you're not charismatic in life, just the fact that you're up there so fucking relaxed, on set so fucking relaxed, just saying it like it's nothing. All of a sudden it looks fucking good. And you didn't do anything but just fucking, you know.
We have similar philosophies as far as acting is concerned. I've gotten to a point, I haven't been in class with you or seen you as far as acting in a while, but I kind of put a label on my philosophy of acting, which is like minimalist naturalism, right? And the example that comes to my head is, for example, we all, we see the TV or the news. Let's say the police chief is reporting on a crime. Let's say there's a forest fire or something and a car burned down or whatever. When the guy's up there speaking, he's not acting. He's not putting any intonations or inflections or emotion, or he might be emotional about it. Let's say if a child passes away or whatever, but he's just basically saying it, right?
Right.
He's saying it. And now if we're trying to recreate life, with that being said, logically, if you're just there and you say the lines naturally, that's really all you have to do to make it real. Yeah,
absolutely. Don't add this feeling to everything else that you think you're supposed to, because that's not what happens in real life. The story is going to tell you that,
Exactly. And of course, it depends on the production as well. Again, if it's Glee, then you've got to add something to it, something strange and foreign. But if it's a Gus Van Sant project or something along those lines, where somebody who likes natural performances, you really don't have to do anything except take away. It's more you're taking away.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're absolutely right. That's probably like the talent that we're talking about. That's why we see that talent. And it's like, is that talent or just like, I think it is talent.
It is a talent because, they say it is, because they say people are more scared of public speaking than they are of dying. I think there's a statistic.
Right.
So with that being said, it takes a talent. Not everybody comes from your background. Not everybody comes from my background, where they've been through some rough times. That makes it easy to cut through the bullshit or cut through certain insecurities that other people might have.
Yeah.
Right. So that is a talent. That's a talent that was bred of life experience.
Right.
But to certain people standing up there, they just feel judged. Is just my stomach protruding or whatever. I don't even know. Is my nose too big? Whatever it may be. Yeah. Is that girl not going to like my hair or not? I don't know. Whatever. But because they have all of these things, that's a barrier to that naturalism.
Right.
So that takes practice, and that's a process. And it's not easy for everybody like it is for you.
Yeah. Although, and I've actually thought about this a lot, because I've talked to people and I've worked with people, and it is, in a practical sense, it's not easy for everybody. But it actually is, if you just get the other shit out of, because I've been in a situation where I've been with them. I'm like, just fucking stop the bullshit. I don't care about anything. So like anybody can, it's not like a talent where it's like talent in sports is like, if you can just jump higher than anybody else, like I can't teach you to fucking jump higher. You can work out and get better. And there are certain parts of acting that are like, that I would say fall more into the talent category. For example, some people are just going to have more of an ability just to get lost in that moment. You know what I mean? Like I do think that's a talent. Like you just, you do a scene, you just bring that fucking, passion that you bring to a scene. That's talent, right? There's a way that for some reason you got a little screw loose and you totally believe you're in this fucking world.
Mm-hmm.
That's an imagination talent that can be developed, but I think some people just have a natural imagination more than others. Some people have a natural ear. I happen to be pretty good with accents because I can do accents. Still takes a lot of work. There are other people who are more talented, but I'm more talented than most when it comes to accents. So that's talent. Just being natural, you don't have to be law. You don't have to believe anything. You don't have to have any of these other talent things. You can just relax and say some words naturally. It's not going to necessarily make you the greatest, most fascinating actor in the world, but that will take you so fucking far and be the basis for everything. So I actually don't think being natural is in and of itself a talent. I think life experiences and, you know, however you think about things can influence it. But if I just tell you to just say this shit as naturally as you fucking can, even if you're not an actor, you can figure out a way. But that's what I think, because I've watched and I've made people do it who are just not. And it's like, oh, you can do it. But then what happens is you stop wanting to because you want to do more.
Maybe talent isn't the word, but let's call it a skill then. It's a skill.
Yeah. Yeah. The natural. Yeah. Yeah. I'd fall more into.
It's a skill that you can develop with practice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And things such as meditation helps develop that skill, where you're allowing thoughts to pass through until you can eventually get to a place where there's possibly no thoughts for a period of time. Because when you're up there and you have naturally as a human being, you have these thoughts. When they say action or you're in front of the class or whatever, if you're thinking about anything else other than the scene or having no thought, then you're kind of fucked. Right? It's gonna block you from that naturalism, unless it pertains to the scene or the situation.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different. This is why, you know, I love acting. There's so many different nuances and different parts of this, and what part is the skill part and what is the talent, and how do we develop that. I do think when you said on meditation, absolutely, because that's building, like I said, that's building your concentration, your focus muscle.
Yeah.
Is what meditation is, right? Is what it's about. So that's that I definitely think that's going to help in a certain area of acting. But you know, sometimes it's really fucking fascinating. Like, we don't know what's going on in your head. You could be so fucking self-conscious in a scene and totally think you're out of it, and it just comes off, you know, great. So that's
true. Yeah, that's true.
The skill is just getting to you know, I guess the skill would be the skill of not giving a fuck if you're good or not, which will relax you. What gets in the way of being natural is, you know, trying to do something interesting, or really trying too hard, you know.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you could argue or talk about this ad nauseum, but I actually heard Hugh Grant, he actually has full-blown panic attacks while he's working.
Wow.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So like, what, you know, I guess it depends. There's really no answer to any of these, you know, thoughts and ideas, but that's what they are. That's what's the beauty of it. These are all thoughts.
It's fun to like talk about and like break down like I mean, this is why like I will like break down and parse out like every little thing. Like, well, is this talent or is this skill? And what about this? And it's like, you know, you can get lost in that too much if you spend too much time on that. That might not actually help your acting, because there's something to be said for just going out there, forget about all that shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be different for, like, at the end of it, it's going to be different for everyone else. Some actors are chill, never like have worry at all, and then others, some greats, are like having panic attacks and nervous the whole time. They're pretty amazing actors too.
Yeah. So they say art is subjective. So I guess that also lends credence to what we're talking about. Everything is subjective, right? It depends on who's looking at it and what the situation is.
Yeah.
Who's to say somebody's opinion is right and somebody else's is not right? You know what I mean?
Right. And who's to say if our, you know, as you know, we're like on the same page, but who's to say that if we're saying the same thing, if we actually mean the same thing, and the same, you know, all the stuff gets kind of like filtered through our experiences and this and that. So it's just kind of you can't, how can you be so definitive about anything, because it all means something different to somebody else.
And in that sense, I should check myself, right? I should check myself and say, if Mary likes Glee and I happen to like Daniel Day-Lewis, which I don't in particular, he's great or whatever, but I'm just saying, for example, doesn't mean I'm better than Mary. You see what I'm saying? Right. It doesn't mean I'm better than Mary.
Yeah.
It's all subjective. We should all be humble. You know, again, it's just interesting to talk about and to think about You know what I mean? But we all have our we all have our tastes.
Yeah.
We all have what
And
we
some
like.
people have terrible taste.
Exactly.
So that can be all, and that's all true. And I agree with you. And it's good to be humble, but you know, at the end of the day, you're human. Like you look at some shit, and you're like, that's fucking trash, and you're stupid for liking it. And I'm sticking with that.
This is true. I mean, even
But in a broader sense, you know, you're absolutely right. But you know, we're also human, so
yeah.
you know, lean into all that contempt for everyone else. I think that's healthy too. I think that can help your acting. You know, you don't want to be too caught up in like in the middle on everything.
This is true. Stay true to yourself. So yeah, definitely a lot of food for thought talking to you.